I'm Jonathan, and this is Tasty Techniques. Today we're going to be focusing more on the technique portion of the program, not so much on the tasty. I'm actually going to show you how to butcher a whole chicken. I realized in my first episode I showed you how to roast a whole chicken, but didn't show you how to cut it up. So today we're going to kind of work in reverse. I'm going to take a raw chicken, break it down so you have all your pieces, and we're going to go from there. Okay, now that we're all set at our station, the first thing that we need to do is stabilize that cutting board. So I'm going to get my cabinet liner again, and I'm going to put my cutting board on top of that. I know you saw the knife I put on my board. It's not my chef knife, it's not even my paring knife, it's my boning knife. It can also be called a fillet knife. And basically, it's a knife, it's got a little bit of bend to it, so it can kind of get around bones and stuff, and it's perfect for butchering a chicken. Or anything, really. But today we're going to use it for the chicken. If you don't have a boning knife, feel free to use your chef knife if you feel confident, or a paring knife is really good because the blade is a lot shorter. So I'm going to get my chicken out of its bag, I'm going to pull the gizzards and such out of the cavity, and I'm going to have it on my board ready to go. I'm also going to put on a plastic glove because dealing with raw chicken can be a little nasty. Now clearly we have the chicken here. It is breast side up. To be honest with you, the first time I ever cut a chicken I didn't know which way was up. So the breast meat is plumpy and soft and the other side is not. So the first thing we want to do is cut off the wings. Now to take off the wings, what you want to do is first grab the one that you want to take off and lift it off the board, and you're going to let a lot of gravity do the work for you. So the chicken doesn't have hardly any weight on the board. I'm going to take my knife and just kind of come in here along the joint and just kind of make a slice around. Now, looks like I may have gotten lucky and found the joint right on the first slice. If you don't, it's okay. You can just toss the chicken around like this and just kind of, find the joint in there and just cut around. And there, we have one chicken wing. I'm going to add this to my stock bag that I have over here because I find that they're mostly useless by themselves. Now on this other wing, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to show you more of a traditional type of cut. So on the wing here, cut through the skin here at the elbow and kind of free that up and then bring your knife in. There's going to be another joint in here. You can kind of pop out the wing a little bit and just cut through, just like that. Now this part, of course, is going to go in my stock bag yet again. And then what we're left with is a little nub that will be attached to the breast meat, and we'll get to that in just a second. Speaking of breast meat, let's get to work on that. The breast meat can be a little tricky, but that doesn't mean that it's hard. First thing, there is the breastbone that goes right down the middle here. You want to make an incision right off to one side. I'm going to start with the left breast first. Just a nice even stroke all the way down. And you'll be able to feel the bone when you come all the way in. You'll be able to feel it right in there, the breastbone. Next step is we're going to free the skin here from the leg and the breast meat. It'll make it easier to deal with in just a second. So that's free. Now the technique that we're going to be using to get the breast meat off of the bone is kind of a scrape and pull. So with the cut all the way down here, we're just going to pull the meat off the bone a little bit and just scrape using the tip of your knife. Just scrape, scrape, scrape. The meat is very delicate, so you don't want to just go hacking in here because you'll end up with a messy breast meat. And this is, of course, the white meat, the most beautiful meat, what most people eat and enjoy. So you want to make sure you get it all. Just cut down and just scrape and peel, cut off any of these extra pieces of skin that are lying up with it. And then we have a perfectly intact chicken breast. I'm going to place this on my plate for keepers, and I get started on the next one. What good is one breast meat when we have two? So the same technique, breastbone right here, I'm going to come in on the other side of it, and maybe come in on the other side, cut through just like that, and make sure that everything is disconnected. And then same technique here, I'm going to cut in, and peel, and cut, and peel. And my dog's going crazy outside. That's okay, because dinner's going to be ready in a little bit. So we're cutting and cutting. Now over here, I will admit, I forgot to free the the skin here from the leg, and it's causing me a little bit of a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, no harm. And then get back to the breast meat, cut off this flap of skin, and then keep going, keep going. Now if you remember, on this one I didn't take off the whole wing bone, so I'm going to flip the chicken around, and then right in here there's this joint where the wing is, so I'm going to come in there with my knife and kind of get right in there, cut, cut, cut. There we go. It ain't pretty. I'll fix it a little bit later, but what we have here is what we call an airline breast, because what they use serve in the airlines, but it's like a chicken breast with a handle. So that's done, we'll get to the legs. Now with the breast meat done, I'm going to get started on the legs. I find it easier to kind of work with the chicken upside down for these first. So I'm going to flip this guy over, or this girl, excuse me, and I'm going to work here on the left leg. So right in here, there's a joint, obviously the leg joint. I'm just going to kind of pop that out, because it's going to make it a little bit easier. So I'm going to take my knife, I'm going to come right in here, this joint right here, kind of come in, and you want to cut all the way up in here. There's this meat here called the oyster, and it's actually quite good. So you want to cut up in there, and then I'm going to turn the chicken around, and I'm going to come down with the knife and kind of work from that. So flip back over, and then really at this point it's just use your knife to just cut through. It doesn't have to look pretty, but here we have one full leg. I'll separate that in a little bit leg thigh portion, and I get to work on the next one. One last puzzle piece to deal with. So with the last leg here, I'm going to flip it over like I did before, kind of pop the joint a little bit, come in with my knife, and again you want to make sure you get way up here. It looks like you're coming up too high, but you'll see there's this lump of meat here, and it's actually, I'll show you in a second. When I finish cutting this guy down, that one was a lot easier than the first one. With this leg done, I will cut the leg from the thigh. I'll show you that in just a second. I'm going to put this off to the side. Now the rest of the bones here, don't throw this out. I'm going to put it in my stock bag and put it in my freezer, and that'll be for another show. Okay, so now to remove the leg from the thigh portion, what you want to do is grab the two bones and kind of press them together so that they are forming almost like a big U. And then what's going to happen here is there's a joint right here, and that's going to open up a little bit. So you want to take your knife and just kind of come in, and you'll hit a bone, and then you just kind of want to obviously be very careful. You're cutting towards your hand here. So I'm going to come back on the board, and the joint is now separated. So I'm just going to use my knife very gently and just kind of cut through. And simple as that, I now have a thigh portion and a quite nice looking drumstick, if I do say so myself. And our chicken is now fully butchered. Congratulations. So that's it. Butchering a chicken, just that easy. Thanks for stopping by for another episode of Tasty Techniques. Fun fact, my wife nearly passed out filming this. Very squeamish. But I hope you're not, because doing this technique is not only easy, once you get the hang of it, but also very cost effective. A whole chicken usually costs somewhere between $1.50, maybe $1.75 a pound, whereas just the chicken breast usually like $4.99 a pound. So if you can butcher this yourself, you can save yourself a lot of money. But that's it for me today. Thanks for stopping by in my kitchen. Please rate and subscribe to this video, and I'll see you next week.